Here we go. No idea if we're live yet. It's getting ready. I think we might be live, possibly live. Okay. I never know when I'm about to do this. I'm going to expand this so I can see the chat. I think I can hear myself. I think we're good. If you can hear me, whoever's watching, just say hello. Let me know in the chat box that you can hear me okay. In the chat box, sorry, in the group comments, so you can hear me okay. And we'll be kicking things off. Abe's here. Happy days. We've got people here. People are watching. 8 people, 9 people. Awesome. Cool. And we've got some likes as well, so people can actually hear us, which is always good. Which is always good. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Once again, we're back on Monday to do another live inside the Facebook group, try and help you guys grow your businesses and make the most of PT distinction and training your clients and get the best results from and all that kind of stuff. Last week we had a chat with Viggy. We talked a bit about the sales side, but this week we want to talk a little bit more about program design and kind of the best ways to approach that with your clients. And to do that, we have probably one of the world's most foremost experts when it comes to program design, Joe Dowdell. So I'm going to let him introduce himself in just a second, tell you a bit about who he is. Some of you guys may have seen him before, may have met him inside the group before. We chatted actually live on the group probably about a year ago, I think it was. Last time we had a good chat on here. We chatted a bit about your story and things like that, which was really, really cool, really, really awesome. And obviously we've known each other for quite a long time now, probably 5 years, 4 years, 5 years now. Quite a while.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's been some time now. And obviously we've done quite a few projects and stuff together, which is awesome. Obviously we're working on the project now and then another project as well that we're currently working on. But yeah, so Joe's kindly agreed to give up his time today to come and chat to you guys about the program design stuff and the ins and outs of program design. So I guess the first question is, Joe, who are you?
God, well, I mean, I'm based out of New York City, and I've been in the industry like about 23, 24 years. So I've been in it for a long time. God, I guess I work a lot with general population now. I used to work quite a bit with athletes, but now I really kind of work mostly with a lot of executives now in the general population. I still work with some people in entertainment. I used to work with a lot of people in entertainment, but I sort of now more with people in finance, tech, and legal professionals and things like that. Sort of my niche now. Train clients still a lot in person, which something that I actually really enjoy. I have like an online business that you know about that you helped me build. I have a few other little projects that I'm doing. So basically, I have my hands in a few different pots, so to speak.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. No, that sounds good. Sounds good. So from a program design point of view, I know we've only got like an hour or so here, so I don't want to go into too much detail about it. I know we've chatted about it before in a previous interview, which if anyone's interested, I'll put the link for that interview as well in the comments so people can watch that back and hear Joe's full story, which is awesome if you get a chance to have a listen to that. But the program design sort of stuff, how did this become like a massive interest to you? And also, I'd like to talk a little bit about the peak performance seminar and how that all came about and how that all got put together.
I mean, God, I think program design to me is like something that there's three things that I've always like gravitated towards in the industry. One, I would say is biomechanics and physics. I've always just had a thing for that. I just liked it. I think one of my mentors very early on was a guy named Tom Purvis. So, and he was really big into exercise mechanics and stuff like that. So that just kind of created a tremendous interest for me in that area. And then I would say energy systems training is another area that I really like. Some people know it as conditioning, and then program design. I love sitting down and just like kind of looking at what is where is the client at now, and what do they need to get them where they have to go, and then how how am I going to plan that out? Big picture, first of all, and then like the details of how that's going to happen. And I just love that. I mean, I love getting into the nitty gritty and looking at the acute variables and manipulating those, and just, it's just fun for me. I just enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, I can't say.
And it's just like, I don't know. To me, it's like a puzzle, and it's just fun. And I think, I had a gym for many, many years. And so I had a lot of trainers that worked at the gym, like 50 trainers or so. So we had a lot of clients come through the door. So I got the chance of, a lot of practical experience, like, designing programs and seeing the programs and what worked and what didn't work. And over the years, not just, with my clients, but also seeing, what worked and didn't work on the other clients in the gym. And I just started developing, I guess, a reputation as someone that, was just really good at designing training programs that were, effective and kind of well thought out, and that were also practical. Like, just, like, I think what you see sometimes is people will design training programs that may look really great on paper, but might not actually work really well in the actual gym environment. And that's oftentimes you see that, I think, with new trainers, or, especially with new trainers, like, they have way too much stuff in the training program. And, typically with a training session, you may only have an hour with a client, like, for the entire, for everything, right? And there's lots of things that you want to get done in that hour, right? Maybe you want to do some mobility work, and you want to do some, you want to focus on strength training, and maybe you want to do a little conditioning. Maybe you want to finish up with some static stretching because maybe the client really likes to be stretched at the end. And, you see the program that the trainer might design, and maybe it's like a, 75 to 90 minute program, because they've got so much stuff in there. Or you see the reverse situation where you might see the client, the trainer design a program, and, the workout's finished in 40 minutes, and now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do for the next 20, and so, and that, that just happens over, through experience, really. You over the years, when you start training, you just start getting really good at looking at your programs and going, okay, yeah, I see I've got this many sets, this many reps, with this tempo, these rest periods, so you can kind of start eyeballing these things, and you kind of get a sense of, like, yeah, it'll be about, this long for this section of the workout and this section of the workout. And it's always good, I think, when you're a trainer and if you're working with clients in person, especially, to sort of, like, probably leave about a 5 to 7 minute window, because sometimes clients arrive late, things like that. And it's always easy to kind of, fill that in a little bit, but you don't want to, like, a 15-minute window. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Cool. So is that, you mentioned there about new trainers and stuff, and people kind of, or trainers get that wrong sometimes, that balance, 20 minutes left at the end, or going on for like 75 minutes to an hour or 75 minutes to an hour and a half for an hour session, which they should have had. Is that kind of how the peak performance seminar came about? With that, obviously you had yourself and a lot of big names within the industry all kind of got together for this. Is that kind of, was that the thought process behind that, or did something else happen that inspired that?
I mean, the thought process behind that was a few things. One is, I was doing a lot of stuff just sort of internally teaching my trainers at my gym. And, so I was just kind of like, I just decided I wanted to maybe put myself, I was doing stuff internally for my trainers, and I was always doing stuff like in magazines and things like that. And, I was like, let me, take a crack at, like, doing something more bigger externally, open it up outside, for outside trainers, things like that. And what I thought was going to be something sort of like start out was like, oh, we'll just do something, invite, open it up. It started to, like, morph into something bigger and bigger, and then it became like this huge thing, and we ended up having a production company come in, and we filmed it. It was like it just became this big thing. And then, like you said, all these trainers flew in, and people came in from like out of the country and like internationally. It was an amazing 2 days. It was like, and it was just also amazing because there were so many great people there, and it was like the social aspect of it as well was really fun. Like we all went out, like to dinner, and it was a blast. But it just, the thing I liked about it was it wasn't just about theoretical training. We talked a lot about like how do the practical aspects of like how do you apply this with the client on the training floor, and how do you logistically make this happen and sequence these things. And if you're going to look at the training week, how do you structure that, and how do you structure the training session, and try to make things more like so you can just actually take it and put it together and use it. Like that, I think that's sometimes like there's trainers they know a lot, for instance, like they know a lot of science, but they might not necessarily understand how to apply it, with their programs, like how to like take that knowledge and then put the pen to paper and actually make it work, in a program, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
And even more so, like, sometimes you pick an exercise for the program, and maybe once you start to introduce the exercise to the client, you realize that exercise might not, it's just not really working for that client. They're just not getting it, and it's just not. And instead of like wasting that client's time and them getting frustrated, it's just better to like, okay, let's take a regression. What can we, what 1 or 2 steps back from this exercise can we do to get them to do something, get them to do something similar to what you want them to do, right? And let's start there, right? As opposed to trying to hammer something that's just clearly they're not getting, or it's frustrating them. There's nothing worse than a client like kind of getting disappointed in themselves or getting frustrated, or because really when they're coming there, you want that session to be like a really good part of their day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things about when you're training clients is that the best way to get results is about consistency, right? And adherence. So if they enjoy coming to that training session, they're going to eventually start getting results, right?
Yeah.
So
if they're going to walk away battered and have a negative connotation with that session, they're just not they're going to find excuses.
Right. And if they come in, and every time they come in to see you, if they walk out feeling better than when they came in, that's a big win.
Yeah. I suppose it's even more prevalent and more important when it comes to online as well, because you're writing these programs for clients online that you're not necessarily going to be there with them in person, and you have to kind of make sure that at least they're going to get a positive feeling from that session, because if they don't and you just keep pushing them on there because that's what you feel should be right, you're not going to get the adherence because they're not going to go. They're not going to do the session. They're not going to follow through properly.
I think when it comes to writing programs online, I think it's even more important to keep your programs even more simple, less complicated, because you're not there to see the quality of movement, right? Having them, doing like, Bosu ball split squats, for an online client, I'm just throwing something randomly out there, but trying to minimize the complexity of the exercises that you're prescribing, especially for online clients, is really important, I think. And understanding that, you can always like progress to things that are more complicated in nature as your online client is progressing through, different phases of training with you. And as you get feedback from them, and as you looking at, like, let's say you're looking at their training results, right? So like when they're entering in their data and you're seeing that, that they're getting stronger in these movements. And obviously, you can ask them to sometimes video record themselves in the gym doing things, or at home, and you can take a look at that and do like a movement checks for them, things like that. That's always really a good way to check in with them as well. But I find that one of the best things you can do is just make sure that the videos that you're showing them, first of all, that you're showing them using to demonstrate the movements are high quality. I think that's one of the biggest things. Is so many of the exercise videos that are even being used are just terrible to begin with. So if those aren't good to begin with, then you're sending them to a client that doesn't really have a very good understanding of how to move, and the video you're sending them is not very, very good, then that's like a recipe for disaster, right? So I mean, and that's like, especially like, especially if you're digging around and you're pulling off a video off of YouTube or something, and it's like, I think that's why it's important.
It's not worth. I think make sure it's right. I mean, I've seen a few with the accounts that we set up, and I'll not mention any other softwares, but a lot of the work we do is we'll find clients and people come and see us, they've done few stuff, and we'll take them from one software and move them into PTD. And part of that process is look at the workouts they've created, some of the videos in there. Most of them are taken from like YouTube and places like that. And the quality compared to some, I mean, I'm lucky enough to obviously help set your account up, and to see the quality of your videos compared to some of the ones that are pulled from YouTube, the difference is like, it's crazy. And it does make you worry sometimes. It does make you worry sometimes the quality information that goes out there. And I get it from a PT's point of view. They're not going to have the time. They're busy. They're writing programs. They want to coach the clients. They've got to get in clients. I understand they're going to find, like, I'll Google this, YouTube, there's a video on a deadlift. So I'll take that one. Looks roughly okay at first glance. I'll put it in there. And I get it. There's not much time. They've got other things they've got to do that's more important. And it's you do see a lot of it. You do see a few problems and stuff with that.
Yeah. I also think like, when it comes to like new clients, things like that, like, that's why things like I like to use tempo with newer clients, especially because I like to get them to focus on the movement and the quality of the movement. And I find that using tempo, like saying, hey, listen, I want you to lower down on a 3 count and raise on a 1. If you get them starting to think about that early on in their training, they start to learn, like, they don't rush things, right? So they start to own the movements, right? Later on, when I'm working with them, and I know that their quality of their movement is much better, then I don't mind like moving, like allowing for faster movements. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't really have clients like, especially newer doing burpees and things like that. Not that there's anything wrong with the burpee, but I don't have them do it because half the time it ends up looking like slop, right?
Yeah, it's like a sloth float itself up and down.
Yeah, and like, when I a lot of times with newer clients, if I want to do some like conditioning type stuff, I'm usually looking for things that are low learning curve type things, or like things that have a low learning curve, but have the potential for them to be able to give high power output. So like, a fan bike, for instance, or battling ropes, or things that there isn't, or pushing a prowler. Like I'm talking about in the gym, for instance. Self-limiting, things that just, it's really hard to screw it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even if they do it really hard, like it's really hard for them to screw it up, and it's really hard for them to get hurt. But they're still able to really push themselves. Does that make? And I love being able to have that opportunity with them, especially when they're a beginner. Like sometimes, like at the end of the workout, like like I want them to maybe just like get that feeling of like a little bit of a hard effort, right? Not too hard if they're new to training or they're deconditioned. So maybe we'll do some. I can get into this later, but I'm not doing high intensity intervals, but I might be doing like a moderate intensity interval. But for them, because they're new, they're a beginner, or they're maybe they're deconditioned, you know what I mean? That moderate intensity interval is kind of hard for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm talking about relatively speaking, right?
Yeah, relatively speaking, yeah. Yeah, cool. Definitely makes sense. It's quite interesting. You mentioned a couple of different things there about obviously new clients, when they bring on new clients and when they're kind of new to it. If let's say you was going to work with a client, and I kind of see this quite a lot with my clients, like I guess hear a lot of different programs, a lot of different programs from clients that get sent through to us to set up from ours anyway. And when we're going to put in the accounts, generally speaking, I'll know roughly who their clients are. So like I'll know who these trainers are probably going to be working in. Most of the general population, most are generally to do with weight loss. Yeah, they might be niched out into something specific, but that's in essence what they're after. The general population client, trying to lose some weight, improve body composition, whatever. But the programs themselves vary massively, like hugely. Like the context of the program, the way they do the exercises, they vary massively. What would your advice be here? Like, what would be the kind of the number one things to understand and one things to think about then, if you're first onboarding a client and they come into your online program? What would you be thinking about first for that new client? What the sort of questions be asking? How would you treat it?
I mean,
how would you build the program, basically?
First thing is like, first thing I'm always looking at is what's their previous training experience. Like that's one of the first things. Well, first of all, for me, it's always about injury history, right? Like, what's that first and foremost, right? Then it's like that combined, what are their goals, right? So goals and injury history. Then what's their, I call it training age, like, training experience. Are they a beginner? Are they coming back? Did they train previously, but are they coming back now 5 years later, right? Or are they currently working out, but but they're doing things that are more like cardio based and not strength training, things like that. So I try to find out these things because that's all going to be relative to where I'm going to start them, so to speak, right? The in-person people, I'm also doing like a movement assessment and range of motion assessment on the first time that I see them. I kind of do more or less what I call, it's like a movement assessment workout, because I find people don't really like to sit there and just feel like they're just being assessed. They actually feel like that first session they want to sort of do something as well. So I just sort of make that first workout like I get to see the things that I want to see, but they also get to feel like they've done something as well. And based on their goals, based on their injury history, previous experience, and how much they're willing to commit in the week to training. That's a big thing to me as well. Like if they're only willing to commit 2 days a week to training, well, that's going to really affect how I'm going to program. Like then they're going to basically get a total body strength training program 2 days a week, right? And like you're not going to give that person like back and buys on workout on one Monday and legs and shoulders on the next time they come in, and then chest and arms. That makes no sense. If they're willing to commit 3 days a week, maybe total body, maybe depending on what they're looking at, maybe it's total body with some conditioning at the end, kind of thing. Like if they're willing to commit more, maybe we're looking at maybe a lower body day and an upper body day. Like it just really depends on how many days a week they're willing to commit to the gym, what their goal is, what their training experience. Okay, and based on that, that's how I'm going to build out the program. I'm a big believer in strength is important. Especially building a base for new people. A base of strength, a base of conditioning and fitness. Because without that base, they can't produce like people like they introduce like higher intensity work oftentimes with new clients too early. And what happens is they end up like, maybe they get one or two good efforts or intervals, and then the rest of it's like really sloppy, or like it becomes like a low to moderate intensity like interval.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they just have nothing left in the tank, because they just don't even have the prerequisite strength or prerequisite fitness level to actually get, actually perform a high intensity workout or high intensity, interval session.
Is there certain things you'd ask then your clients, like to try and, you mentioned there about those different levels and kind of like, they've literally got nothing left in the tank to finish it off. What kind of stuff would you, for example, when you're programming? I mean, we could take a look if you want, we can log into the program database and have a look at some different examples, but what kind of stuff would you be setting for them? Like, would you use the acute variables to let them know how hard they need to work at this particular interval? How would you do that? Because I see it quite a lot where it's just like, okay, work hard, rest, or explaining for more than actually being specific. Would you specify certain things in there, certain variables in there?
Yeah, well, one thing is, like, I typically like clients to train with a heart rate monitor. I think it's a great tool. This way they can make sure you can tell them to rest to a certain percentage of their max heart rate, as opposed to using, let's say, a time-based rest period. It's because then it's more specific to them and their actual individual fitness level. But there are, like, basically basic parameters for work to rest intervals for certain fitness qualities. There's guidelines for that, and they're always just guidelines, right? Basically, certain individuals are the better shape they're in, the faster they're going to recover, right? Like that's just, the more aerobically fit you are, the faster you recover. Even when you're doing, people doing high intensity intervals, one of the things about being aerobically fit is that you will recover faster from higher intensity work. So, if you lay down a little bit of an aerobic base early on in the training for a client, when you do get to that higher intensity work, they will be able to work harder and recover faster, because they will have that ability. They'll have a bigger gas tank to work from. Yeah. Right. So you look at those acute variables, like you look at, the intensity of the work that you're doing, right? You can use things like RPE. You can use that or you can use percentage of max heart rate. You can use, with weights, you can use also like percentage of load is another one, or percentage of effort is another way you can look at it. There's lots of ways that you can look at what's called the quality or the intensity of the work, and then you can do the same thing with the recovery as well. So you can just use ratings. Yeah.
Can we
you can access,
take a look at obviously? Well, let's have a look. So let me just share the screen. We can play around with a few of these.
When I program with the clients, like with my clients, like I give them all that information, so they know what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it.
Cool. So I don't know if you can see the screen or not. I'm hoping you can. Can you see my screen?
I can see it. Are you sharing what you're showing?
I'm sharing. I'm sharing your database on here. If not, you might be able to see it on Facebook in just a second or two if it's there. But if not, we can go through it. So, is there anything particularly we want to look at first? If we head into your templates and go to your programs, cool. Can you see that? Okay.
No, I don't see. Where are you?
Let's have a look. See if you can see. So you can see my shared screen.
Make sure that, I guess, people in the chat box are maybe ask.
Yeah, they'll be able to see it. They can see it. They could definitely see it inside.
Okay. Yeah. Now I can see it. Okay. I'm good.
If you can see it.
Yeah, I see. It's just the top one says 6,
there's a little bit of a delay between the. Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
6, 12, 25. Cool. So inside here, if we was going to look at some different examples of what you're talking about, how you can put different information in there, what would you have a look at? What would be a good one to have a look at?
I mean, if you want to like look at something like first, like let's call it like a cardio programs or something like. So let's go to like aerobic. Let's go to aerobic power. Go up.
Aerobic power.
Go up.
Up.
There you go. So this is going to be like an interval based program.
Okay.
Then you
Let's
can
load up a second. There we go. Cool. Just click any of these.
Yeah. So here's like yeah.
Let's go into.
So here's the conditioning, like a phase 1 conditioning program. This would be like an early stage introduction to for interval work with a client.
Yeah.
So you can see like they're doing one set. It's 3 minutes. It's the warm up, right? So it says. So you can see there, I have like an RPE. I have the 50 to 59% of their max heart rate. So it's low intensity. They're just warming up.
I like this.
Yeah, since I use my zone with most of my clients, and I think that actually kind of correlates. The colors might even correlate with Polar as well. I also put the color because I find that then the clients sometimes they don't even have to think about numbers; they just look at colors, right?
Yeah.
I like to make it as simple as possible. You can see over there if you go into the edit notes.
I had to come out the bit down here, or the actual edit notes for the exercise in here.
No. Go. I was just looking at the.
Oh, down here.
Yeah. So like they can see like it's called conditioning. It's like your total body. You keep going down. There's like all the description. It says like tells them what to do stuff on the machine. The execution, little coaching tips there. I tell them like, look, you may need to adjust the resistance or incline throughout the workout in order to achieve the prescribed training. So I just put everything they need to know with every exercise. I just try to make it as as
clear and simple.
As clear and simple, as idiot proof as possible.
That's one of the things I like. I've noticed with a lot of setups that the more clarity you can add inside your online program, the easier life is going to be for you, but also for your clients as well, because the information's there. Like they know roughly what to do now. They know how to make adjustments if they need to. And I do like the My Zone bit as well. Like it just makes it nice and simple.
So hit save and go to the workout part. So what you're going to see also up here, you see, go up real quick.
Yeah.
See, it says the warm up is 3 minutes, right? Yeah. At the top, you see it says aerobic power intervals, phase 1. You'll see it says 26 to 38 minutes is the total time for the workout. So I already calculated out how long the workout should be. So they know, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you go down to the B section, it says workout, 20 to 32 minutes. Now, the reason why it says that is depending on whether they do 5 reps, five reps of the 2 minutes of work and 2 minutes of recovery, or 8 reps. Okay. Now you go to the section notes. Now in there, it explains it. You're going to perform 2 minutes of work at an intensity of, the 5.5 to 6.5 RPE, or 70 to 79% of your maximum heart rate, which is the green zone, followed by explains everything. You're going to repeat the cycle for a total of 5 to 8 reps, and say ideally over the course of your training phase. So let's say they week 1 of this phase, they're only able to do 6 rounds of it. So I explain that ideally, by the end of the phase, we're looking to try to get to 8 rounds. Okay. So I just put, ultimately you want to get, it just depends on where your starting point is. So if you close that out, go up to the very top of the documents, right? So up top.
Up here.
Yeah. So this is actually for that's kind of for trainers, but you see, like that just explains what that what that is, right? Aerobic power.
Yeah.
But go to attachments.
Okay. Cool.
So go down to that one. Type of enter. Click on that one.
This one. I'll just explain this while people are looking at this and watching it. And you said there's a bit for the trainers and the trainer info. This thing you're looking at here is an actual program database. It's something that Joe's developed over years and years and years of doing this and using stuff with PT and everything we've helped him set up as well inside PT Distinction from his setup. It's something put together now so that it's possible for trainers to actually access this information and pull it out. But we can talk a bit more about that towards the end. But that's what kind of the stuff.
I just wanted to show this thing, that type of thing, that document there.
Okay.
Because this is what my clients will get. So
yeah,
they'll get. I send them something that explains. Keep going down. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Yeah. So I'll send them something like similar to this that says zone 1, and it'll say 1 point, the RPE and the 50 to 59%. So they understand that they understand that information. They know what that means, right? What does that RPE mean? That RPE of 1 to 2 point, it's active recovery, right? What's the 3 to 4.5? That's aerobic, aerobic extensive, aerobic, you know what I mean? So I give them these pieces of information so that they understand when I'm asking for these things, what it is.
Yeah. Again, it makes sense. It's such an important thing that gets missed out quite a bit, because I think especially when you're training people online, when you do it in person, these conversations you have, don't you, with your clients, like you sat there saying, oh, you do that. You might even think you do it, just subconsciously you have this conversation. Yeah, when you're actually online, you're not there. And it's really important to always remember that you're not actually there with them. So these conversations that you may have with your client about this particular thing, you need to somehow deliver that to them. And of course, you can have a conversation with them. You can jump on a call. But if you want to have a scalable business, you need to look at ways of automating it. And especially with things like this, if it's repeated information, it's the same regardless. So you might as well automate it by putting stuff together like this, having it there attached to the programs, having it so it's easy accessible for the client, and they know where to look for it. I think you're onto a winner. Really are onto a winner.
It obviously takes a ton of time to do,
yeah.
But once you do it, it makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. It's very you get it sometimes. It's a lot of front-loaded work, but I think when you put the work into it and get this kind of stuff ready, it does make life a lot easier and a lot quicker.
Why don't you go back, clear out of that, and you can go to templates.
Okay.
So I guess let's go down to like a fat loss program or something.
Cool.
So go to fat loss advanced. Let's go to advanced right there. Click on that. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to change the view.
Okay, so here, so you can see this is a phase 1. So you can see just so people so that anybody watching, you can see I built out my own database. So where it says there's a little thing that says MP.
Yeah.
Because of I wanted to keep my database really organized. I created my own sort of naming system. And then I also wanted to make sure that it was easily searchable inside PTD.
Yeah.
So I had to create this little code at the front of every exercise so that all of the exercises for the different movement categories would stay together inside the custom database. Otherwise, they wouldn't. If I would have just put
they go alphabet.
Yeah, it would have gone alphabetical. So back squat would have been up in the B's, and so I wanted all my movement prep stuff to be where it said MP, and all my movement skill on MS, and all my conditioning is conditioning. And so I have my database all organized with a code, in the very beginning, and then everything. And so it just keeps it really organized, and I can find things very quickly. But as you can see there,
a good tip that is for anyone doing this, having organization, and just remembering that anything inside PTD is numerical and then alphabetical. When you realize that, it becomes a lot easier to organize the content. And I think especially when it comes to program building, we can look at how you can use the templates like this to build programs quickly. But if you have to do individual exercises, it's very easy to find what you're looking for, isn't it, by having it organized in that way?
Yeah.
Definitely cool.
So, and
Sorry.
I build out I have all templates built out, movement prepper. So I build out my programs I structure my training sessions like based on movement preparations.
Should we do that?
Yeah, you can see it like movement prep section. Then you'll see like a strength block 1, strength block 2, strength block 3, core. Depending on the type of program, if it's a strength and power, so if you go to strength and power,
to come back out.
Yeah, go back out so they can see more of an advanced type of training program.
Just right down the bottom, isn't it? Strength and power.
Yeah, click into that. So
people saying, yeah, we'll definitely use custom names and custom exercises. Yep, I definitely will do that as well. You can actually as well edit the names of the PTD exercises as well.
Yeah, so here,
if you were using the PTD exercises.
So this is like something like you can see, like this is really getting more technical, right? So here you got phase 1, lower body, linear emphasis. So you got the movement preparation is really geared towards a linear day. Okay. So even like the movement skill, you see like there's a pillar marching, linear traveling. There's a movement skill exercise, wall drill marching. The plyo section, there's a linear box jump with it's a counter movement. You go down, the primary strength block is back squats. It's 5 sets, 3 to 5 reps. Then you go down the secondary strength block. So, then you go to the next one, phase 1, lower body, multi-directional emphasis. So these are much more like technical programs. This is not, this is going to be more for an advanced type of client, right? More of an app for an athlete. Go up to, back to the templates. And then you can go into like, why don't we go to, go down to like med ball.
Med ball training?
Yeah. So why don't we go to, okay. So here's like a pre-built out, sections, I guess you'd call them, right? So like here's a beginner level 1 medicine ball block, right? So as you can see, what I have is a linear emphasis. Parallel position means that you're facing the wall. Your hips and shoulders are facing either the training partner or the wall, okay? Perpendicular means you would be 90 degrees, okay? So you're away from the wall or your partner, okay? So that would be more like if you're doing more of a rotational type of throw. So here you can see like there's a chest pass. So the first thing I'm going to start out with is non-counter movement, because that's the most regressed. You go non-counter movement, counter movement to continuous. That's the progression when doing med ball. It's also the progression when doing plyometrics. So again, it's like I build out like the things with progressions and regressions, so that I can quickly, plug and play.
Yeah, I suppose when you have a kind of a setup like this, when you've got all this stuff set up, I guess when you're building a workout, I mean, I'll delete this after, don't worry. But like if I was going to create a new program and I wanted to create something quickly, I suppose all I can do is inside my program builder here, just go, okay, I want to add a new workout from template, and I can choose what I want to do. So if I want to work with say I want to do some med ball work with somebody, I can click on that and I can go, okay, what are they? Beginner, the intermediate, what level they're kind of working at, what phase are they in that program? So if I'm thinking I'm working with a beginner that's just started out, it's the first thing they're getting into, level 1, I go and drop that in there like that. And I've got that section put inside. And I can then either add more workouts in, or I guess I could actually pull from sections and bring other exercises in there as well, and other preset programs inside there. And then obviously from that, you've actually already got all your variables in. So instead of having to like individually add in sort of extra those acute variables all the time, you've got those right exercises in there every single time for doing it.
Can you pull up a show a video, like show them the video, like an actual exercise video? Yeah, why don't you
of course. I'll go back into program templates. I'll not save that one, and then I shall go into
go to med ball.
Med ball. Yeah, it's definitely a good way to do it. I know it's like obviously a lot of front loaded work to get this done, but I think when you have this kind of database set up like this, it is literally just like pull, drop, pull, drop, pull, drop, workout done.
Go down
And
to
then
go to advanced.
I'll get view actually, so you can see it. And then once I guess then once you've got that, you can build your groups out, and that becomes even quicker. Like you can just drop in a 12-week.
Yeah, we can actually show them. We can show them one of my groups when we're done, like just so they can see what.
Awesome. Which video would you like to look at?
Go to advanced. Scroll down. Go to advanced.
Advanced.
Yeah. So like go to advanced. Let's see. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Go to perpendicular. As soon as you see perpendicular.
Perpendicular.
Keep going. Go to advanced level. Advanced. Go
That's
down.
linear.
No, it's keep going. You got to scroll all the way down. Yep.
All right. Perpendicular.
There you go. Right there. So advanced. Down. Level 5. Level 4. Right there. Right there.
This one. This one.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a counter movement. Oh yeah, you can see like now you can see like you know, the tempo is like, you know, 1 second, you know, it's an explosion to a reset. It says all the movements. The client knows what, you know, the body parts that are working. Tells them the, you know.
Super clear, isn't it? Like dead simple and clear.
Plus,
I say when you kind of do it this way, it gives you that. I can see why I want to do it this way, because it gives you all those variables already pre-set up, so you're not having to write them up all the time.
You know, yeah, you know what? It took me a while, but what I did was go. You see, there's a little thing that. Play it again.
Do you want to skip through to something?
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No worries.
That
bit.
There is. Yeah. Rest. Reset. Begin your next set.
That's a good idea, because then when they're watching it, like they know exactly what they need to do before they go into it.
Yeah. So go ahead. Pop out of there.
Cool.
Go to the group.
Okay. Let's go and have a look at some groups.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you like to look at?
Oh my God, I don't know.
There's a lot of groups.
Yeah. I guess go to I don't know, like 16-week body comp. Yeah. Advanced body comp.
This one or this one? This one.
Then this one.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah, I guess go to like advanced body comp phase 3, whatever.
Cool.
Like
Is it loaded? Can you see it? Is it loaded up?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I can see like once you've actually got those individual programs set up, I guess you can then just drop them into each of those groups. And then once you're inside your groups, all you got to do is schedule them out. So it just drip feeds out to the client step by step. So I suppose like with this one, all you do then is just add the client in, done, you've got a program there. And if you want to tweak and change anything, you just go in and tweak and change it. Just by editing the workout.
Go to coaching, so I can show you can so they can. I want to show them like there's like an attachment like.
The coaching elements of it.
Yeah. So go to there. Go to periodization sheet. 16-week periodization sheet.
Phase 1.
Yeah. So the client, I always give the client something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So like it kind of this gives them an idea of how their week, ideally what their week should look like in the program, right?
Okay.
Like, you know, by the way, this is not like these are programs that people would sign up for, and there's no coaching involved. Like these are like I guess you'd call them like
Or like an
pre-designed.
automated,
Yeah,
pre-designed
fully
program.
automated. So
Yeah.
like they would do like, the phase one, like, strength training program on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then they would do their energy system development workout number one on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. When they sign up, they know it's a 6-day-a-week work program. But like, and scroll down, yeah, that's it. But just basically, they get everything, so they understand what the requirements are for the program ahead of time. Like,
Yeah.
It's a commitment. It's an advanced workout. It's an advanced body comp program.
Yeah, I suppose it's stuff like this though that by the time to get to that point, you might sit there thinking, okay, it's a lot of information, but if it's an advanced body comp thing, they're kind of like you said earlier, understanding where they are in their journey, not just like from their injury and their goals, but like how much training experience they've got. It's like boom, that's where it all is on there.
Yeah.
Craig's saying exos ? What's exos?
What's what?
Exos on the. Can you see the comments on Facebook?
Oh no, I don't have any.
Oh, it's Craig's just mentioned exos as in capital EXOS ?
What about exos?
Is it ESD? Is that what you mean? ESD?
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll let us know in a second. There's a little bit of a delay between this and the Facebook group, so I may be able to show him what it is.
I'm not sure I mean, do I know exos? Yeah, of course I know exos. I know Mark very well.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what he means. I have no idea.
Maybe he means is energy system development.
Oh, athlete performance. Yeah, I think he's asking about how you structure for athlete performance. I think that's what he's asking.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's like that's kind of like how you would structure. I know it's just how I would structure for any client, athlete, an advanced client.
Yeah. Cool. I'll see if he actually puts the question in. Oh, did he train there? Question: did he train there to get system? Sorry, I don't quite understand the question. Would you be able to rephrase it for us, please? I'll try and get Joe to answer it as best he can.
I'm not sure how am I able to see the.
Just go onto the Facebook group. If you go onto the Facebook group, click on the video, you should be able to see it.
How do I not see the screen that you're sharing?
Press escape, I think.
Okay, escape.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Oh, sorry. I'm asking if that's where he learned. Oh, is that where you learned your system? Sorry, here you go, Joe. Yeah, Craig's asking if where you learned your system from?
Craig, I've been to Athletes Performance. I've been to like a million different seminars and internships. I went through Charles Poliquin's level 5 Charles Poliquin coach. So I've done tons of different things. So I blended from everybody and anybody. Yeah, I mean, Athletes Performance uses energy systems development. I mean, I think anybody that works with athletes do. Yeah, I mean, Exos is awesome. Athletes Performance is a great experience. If you ever get a chance to go out there and study with those guys, you should. I highly recommend it.
Cool. Awesome. I'm not sure if you saw the first bit, Craig, as well, but there's a bit where Joe talks about not all this kind of stuff, but like some of the things where he got his ideas from and his experience in it all and stuff like that. Might be worth watching back as well. But that's cool, man. Yeah, it makes more sense now what you was asking. Definitely makes more sense.
I didn't understand, but now I understand because I couldn't see. I wasn't looking at the Facebook.
Yeah, cool. No worries, not a problem.
Anything else? Any other questions or
I think we covered something. Someone mentioned about like structuring for hypertrophy.
Okay. So for hypertrophy, like for a beginner, I'm probably gonna be more like 3 days a week total body. For a beginner client. For intermediate, and if they're willing to train more days per week, then maybe I'm gonna start getting into maybe upper body, lower body splits. If they're gonna if they're willing to train more than that, then maybe I'll get into a little bit more body part splits. Although, I think you could still get a lot done by, with just simply doing upper body, lower body splits and not necessarily getting into the
nitty gritty,
chest and back and things like that kind of thing. I mean, if you're getting into maybe training as an advanced bodybuilder, I guess you can go that route, but that's not really typically the clientele that I'm working with. Typically, even when I work with athletes, the hypertrophy that we were doing was more or less for performance enhancement purposes, not really for physique, competitive physique purposes. So that's really not really like the type of client that I usually work with. The physique type of clients that I was working with would be more for entertainment industry, people that needed to get in really good shape for a movie or for a photo shoot or, for something like that. So it wasn't really about necessarily getting jacked to compete on stage for a bodybuilding contest. It was about looking really good for, to be naked in a film, basically.
I quite like the film stuff, like compared to stage sometimes. I always think with film, it's not just about getting them like looking amazing for screen, but also making sure they don't get injured in the stuff that they're doing as well on there. Like it's got to be a good mix of looking good as well as performing well, I think, personally. That's what I found anyway. I don't know about you, but it's one thing I found. Cool, awesome. Any other questions? Craig says yes, he trained there too. Okay. That's probably why I mentioned it, which awesome. Is cool. Kelly's mentioned, Joe, I love your organization of groups and templates, etc.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. It's done really well, actually. I mean, this, in case anyone's interested listening at the moment, I've spoke to Joe a little bit before we came on this today. We're going to obviously talk about program design, which we have done, and gone through how to structure stuff and how that applies to PTD and online training. But obviously, a lot of people here probably listening know that we do run the Done For You service, and we have the 101 course and the PTD Ninja stuff. And that actually gives you access to a lot of different things. Most of it's nutritional based and coaching based content, as well as a few workouts. But we've spoken to Joe, and Joe's quite happy to do an additional thing to do with the Ninja stuff, which is actually offering access to this. So it will give you access to your all Joe's videos and his entire video database once you copy it over to your account anyway. Access to his templates, his workout programs, and also some of his groups as well. The ones he doesn't actually use mainly with his clients, but he's got some groups and stuff set up already pre-scheduled out. So you can literally drag and drop and put these into your account and utilize all these inside there. Obviously, these will be unbranded as well, so it won't have like Joe's logo on and all that kind of stuff inside there. So it's all unbranded, which is why we've got this separate thing on here at the moment. So that's going to become available and accessible to people if they want it as part of a membership thing. As well as part of that membership, Joseph's going to be adding in new workouts and new programs each month as well. And also give you the opportunity to drop in and request new workouts, new programs to be added in there. So it basically just gives you an ongoing database of all these workouts, all these programs, all these templates that you can utilize in your account to drop them in. And we're going to offer that. You don't have to be a PT Ninja client in order to do it. Though if you are a PT Ninja client, you will get it at a discounted rate. But you can also, anyone can sign up just to access this particular data.
You should also let them know that in this this trainer thing, there's actually some educational stuff in each, that sort of helps give them some information and guidelines about how to build more effective programs for each of the different goals.
Yeah. So we actually looked a little bit, I think, didn't we? Yeah. Kind of some of the resources that go with it. So each of these program templates that get dropped over, you've got that attachment area, and they're all set to not live. So even if you accidentally drop them into someone's account, it won't show up for the client. But it's there just to help with the thought process behind that particular workout and program. One thing we thought about is if we're dropping these kind of workouts in there, you need to kind of understand the thought process behind it. So there's a lot of it, like Joe said, a lot of educational stuff inside there. And we'll be adding more and more educational stuff to that as well. But if anyone is interested in this, just literally just drop what should we put inside the comments? Just info. Write info inside the comments, and we can send you some information through on that. And I'll also put the link in here in order to sign up. It's not going to be expensive. I don't think it would be. I thought it'd be really good value for what you actually said. It was $50 a month, wasn't it? To have access to all this stuff inside the account.
There's hundreds of templates, literally.
Yeah, hundreds of templates. I think there's 177 programs. I know that inside there. 177 groups inside there.
177 groups, yeah. But there's like hundreds and hundreds of templates, and the video database is like, I think it's well over 1,000 something videos, and easy. all of the exercise videos have all the descriptions already written, and all of the tracking is already inputted for each exercise.
Cool. Awesome.
Which was a pain in the butt.
Yes. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do. But like I say, once the front load of work's done, it's not too bad. You can just pull stuff as you need it. So we've got people dropping info in there. Just bear in mind as well, like I know there's a couple of the PT Ninja clients on here already. If you guys want information, Joe's kindly offered it out at 50% off for current members. So you guys, I'll drop you some information on that once I've seen everyone put the infos and stuff through. But everyone else, it's only $50 a month if you're interested in accessing it all and getting all that educational content as well. There's one other thing that Joe did mention is going to do, which is really, really cool. So if you do sign up to this membership, or let's say you're on the Ninja course anyway, you have access to the support group for that. And that's a particular support group just for PT Ninjas. Joe's going to jump in there every couple of weeks or so and just do chats and talks about the actual program design stuff, any advice and stuff you need. It'll all be inside there. Craig, did you say, yes, all of it? So all those templates will over, and then the groups and stuff that are pre-made up will come over, and then we'll add new ones in each month as well. So as long as you have that membership, you'll have access to it. That's basically what it'll be.
I'm just finishing up one last group that I need to finish. One that is the anaerobic alactic power. That's the only one that's I have to finish.
Nice.
And that's
cool.
Once that's done, that'll be in there. I'm adding that to the templates.
Awesome. Cool. So almost there with it all then. So just drop info inside this. Doesn't matter whether you're watching this live or watching a recording a bit later on. Just drop info inside there. I'll keep an eye on it and we'll send the stuff through.
And the other thing is, Ash, that
no, just quickly, sorry, mate. No, they won't have his logos on. So it's unbranded.
No.
Unbranded.
And also that one of the things that we want to do is, because I love doing it actually, is that if people want different types of programs, like I have a pretty extensive database of machine type stuff, exercises as well. So I'd be happy to get into building out some programs with using those tools as well.
Nice, cool. Yeah, there's so many you've got inside there. Like the video library is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous inside, and really good as well. Really good, high quality ones. Just quickly as well, like for people asking, what about if you're doing program design for them? Like I know, for example, we've got a lot of clients who maybe don't do nutrition, and they'll bring in like a nutritionist or a dietitian to come and do some particular work for them. But I also have clients who are dietitians and nutritionists who don't. They are PTs, but they don't really like the program design, or they're not that good at it because it's not their bag.
Sure.
Would you consider doing any that kind of work with clients? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, it's possible. If someone's interested in that, I mean, we have to talk about, what that would look like in terms of, cost or price, whatever. I do think that what is currently in this library is pretty extensive. And then if you factor in, once we start each month, start dropping in the groups that I've already built out that are like 12-week programs and 16-week programs and, all that stuff, like I would be shocked if anybody, unless they needed like a custom design thing for a specific client, I would be shocked if they needed anything beyond what I already built. I mean, and also what I intend on continue to keep adding. Does that make sense? Because I really I enjoy designing these programs and enjoy making and designing programs. So I want to continue doing that for this service, right? So You know, and yeah, I mean, if somebody wants me to specifically do it, or talk to me about it, absolutely, it's not a problem. I just think that the value of what, you know, once they dig into what's already in there, I'd be
I think they'd be okay.
I'd be surprised if they needed me to do it, but sure. Also, this is
cool.
The educational manual that I've put together that we will slowly be creating some like webinars, or like, you know, I guess you call them webinars, that we will start to also put together and add into to PTD Ninja.
Like the course bit.
Yeah.
So what we've actually done with this, we've created it as like a separate course thing, so you can buy into in the subscription that way, and then over time we'll just keep adding in these training bits that Joe just mentioned there to go inside it. So it's so it's not just the workout stuff. You get access to all the templates, his exercise database with all that information you saw inside there, all the pre-variables set up, and then obviously the programs as well that are pre-set up inside the groups, and then obviously all that educational stuff. So there's I think there's what Joe's offering here is really, really good value. Really, really good value. It's a lot more than what I thought it was going to offer when we first talked about it, but it's it's an incredible for the price. Yeah.
I mean, I know. I don't know. I don't know. I just know what it's like as a trainer.
Yeah.
It's so time consuming.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. Very, very time consuming. It's probably the longest things I think you do. I mean, especially when we do it for clients, it's, you know, they'll send stuff through to us to build out, but it's by far the longest process. Process.
I just find that
set stuff up.
it's I think program design is the thing that most trainers, you know, they spend it takes the most time to do, and they typically don't usually recover that time investment, you know, properly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people don't charge for the actual program design. I know a few trainers that do, you being one of them, but I think I know two actually that might do it, where they'll charge an actual fee for the design side of it, outside of it, and then charge time for the sessions. But I'd say 99%
most
don't.
Yeah, especially
which is a shame, really, which is crazy.
Especially if trainers work for a gym, it's expected that they basically they eat that. So let's say they have 10 clients that they train at the gym, you know, that's 10 hours maybe every 4 weeks that they're designing programs for the clients, you know, on their own, you know, on their own dime, basically, right? Like, so anyway.
Yeah, and hopefully exactly this can help. Hopefully this can help with them. Maybe if you're doing stuff in person, it's there, isn't it? Just plenty of stuff. Cool, awesome.
Buy back
so just about that time. I was thinking we've been chatting away now for a while, which is all good. I'm sure people have hung around and listened. It's cool.
I enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody, you know, got something out of it, and you know, hopefully we'll, you know, people have questions, you can drop that in the PT Ninja Facebook group, and I'll be happy to answer. Awesome. That's it. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Cool. No, thanks so much for joining us, Joe, and then spending your time doing it. And it was awesome. Like the stuff you've gone through there. I mean, I get to work with people all the time, but I learned loads out of that, which is awesome.
Cool.
And again, just thank you so much for offering this to everyone as well, and giving the opportunity to access all this data and this information, these workouts and programs, because it's going to save people no end of time. So again, just a quick reminder to anyone, if you are interested and find out more about this and signing up to this, just drop me an info inside the comments. We can send you some stuff through, and then I'll put the link in there as well, so you can just sign directly up, and then we'll go from there. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, everyone else, and I shall see you all next Monday on our next live, which I've no idea what it's going to be about yet, but I'll tell you about it a bit later on in the week.
Awesome.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Bye bye.